Hello. Thank you for joining me for It Takes a Village to God, the story of my life. I introduced myself last week. My name is Malady Simpson, and I have a story to tell my daughters. And in doing so, I figure I'll tell the world in case someone out there is going through or has gone through what I've gone through in my marriage, and hopefully it can help me, my girls, and the world. Anyway, I'm not here to tell you that I'm for divorce. That's seriously not my plan. And if anything, I'm a very hopeful romantic. As somebody reminded me, instead of hopeless romantic, I'm a hopeful romantic. I love and I will love to love again. And this is just to help me heal all the things that I went through during my marriage of 27 years. So again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, I'm not trying to tell you to get a divorce if you have problems in your marriage. I'm simply telling you my story as to what I went through, because I believe that abuse in families are something that is destroying, the world, basically, because individual families come together to make the world, and I know that's not what God planned us to be, in turmoil, fighting, hurting each other and breaking up our families. So many problems going on in the world, if you trace it back, can lead to breakups in families, breakups in communities. So I'm here today to tell you a story, and it's going to be in the form of letters to my daughters. So I hope everyone will listen carefully and help somebody they know, or pass it on to someone who's going through similar situations that I've been through, and so that we can do our work together and put back the family unit. Anyway, as I remember things, I'm going to stop and fill that in, because there's so much in my head I need to share with the world. So here we go. It's headed, My Story, Letters to My Daughters. My angel daughters, I thank God every day for blessing me to be your earthly guide. Unfortunately, I haven't set a very good example for you. I've loved you all your life and always will. I have set you on the path to know God's love, but I haven't done a good job of showing you how to love a man as a wife. I'm talking about the daily interactions between a husband and wife, expressing love and affection, kissing, hugging, touching, holding hands, and going on dates are just a few of what I'm talking about. These are some of the things you didn't see growing up, because your dad and I did not show some of these affections around you. Rachel, when you were in middle school, you once told me a friend came to the house and later said, "Your mom and dad act like brother and sister." I remember dismissing it without thinking how that made you feel. I've asked God to forgive me so many times, and now I pray you both will forgive me for the bad examples I've imposed on you. The constant silence and tension, the periodic explosion of screaming at each other is inexcusable, and I pray it hasn't left you wondering if that's part of love. No, that isn't love. I'm not saying couples don't have disagreements, arguments, or get mad at each other. They do, but in a respectful and civil manner. What you two experience is abuse, and every time I think about it, I get sick to my stomach. Forgive me. I've been going to counseling, and it's been helping me spiritually, but I still feel a pit in my gut telling me it's not enough. I keep returning to where we lived as a family, feeling there's some unfinished business. I prayed and asked God to guide me to correct my mistakes, and He answered me by saying, "Tell your story." That's when I realized that the unfinished business was telling you my story, because you are the two unmentioned victims. I have been trying to figure out how to do this for some time now. Then it came to me to write to you. to tell you about my spiritual struggles, what my vision of love was and still is, giving away my power and joy in the name of love and family, verbal and emotional abuse, control, affection deprivation, and loneliness. These are some of the things families don't talk about because it's either too painful or we convince ourselves that it's just how things are. And no marriage is perfect. Or we hang in there for the children's sake. And that the children don't need to know these things. Meanwhile, the children are in the middle of it and suffering. I'm sorry if this is painful for you, but you've already gone through the pain which may affect you in your future relationship. So now, I'm telling you the part I played to cause my pain and yours. This is part of my healing journey and hopefully will help you as well. Know that God is of love, and when you find it, you should be able to walk side by side with a person in God, faith, hope, and strength. You should be able to go through struggles, face challenges, respect and accept each other's differences, and look out for each other in all things. This will probably be the only Bible verse I quote, and it's one of my favorites. 1 Corinthians 13:4-7 says it best. Love does not hurt. So if you don't feel good in any way with someone, then it's not love. When you make excuses for someone's bad behavior, which causes you pain, it's not love. When someone accuses you of things that they know you haven't done, but do so because of their own insecurities, it's not love. When someone tries to cut you off from family, friends, and all your support system, it's not love. When someone is constantly telling you to leave, it's not love. When someone tells you, I hurt you, but it takes two, that's not love. When someone only shows you affection when they need something, it's not love. When someone criticizes everything you do and only wants you to do what they say and do not respect your opinions, it's not love. When they don't show you interest and they don't dream with you, even when you ask for encouragement, it's not love. All these things happened to me because I allowed it. I did not use the power God gave me to say no. I did not guard my heart, protect my spirit and joy, or say I love you, but you do not have the right to hurt me. I did not set boundaries and expectations. Rather, I made excuses like, we both come from a broken home, so I want to keep the family together for children. Or, if I love him too much, if I love him enough, it will be okay. Or, he apologized, so he will change. Or, he says he's going to get help. My darlings, that's enabling. That's encouraging them to basically telling them it's okay to treat you badly and abuse you. I'm not God, but I try to do God's job as a healer and savior. Did I suggest getting professional help? Yes, I did. But see, that's the thing. We were both fighting to change each other into the ideal spouse we each envisioned before we married. That is control, tug of war on both sides, no matter how noble our intentions were. I can't speak for him as to what his vision of a perfect wife should have been. I can only tell you my vision of an ideal husband and father in my next letter. Did I reach out to family for help? Yes, lots of times. But you see, these are the taboos and the norm in our culture. So no one wants to talk about it or get involved. Rachel, Rebecca, you're probably asking me the question, why did I stay? I have no healthy reason to give you. I prayed for change. I'm not saying prayer and faith alone would have stopped it all. I'm saying what I didn't do was put enough action behind my prayer and faith. I didn't set boundaries. I was focused on the pain and anger alone. No one can tell you what to do to save yourself. First, you have to recognize, admit, and ultimately make the decision to save yourself by asking for help from God first. God will always have angels behind you to support and encourage you, but you have to do that work. It has taken me a long, painful journey to get where I am today. Telling you my story is part of my healing process. If I don't tell you about my pain, my struggles, and pretend it's okay, God forbid, how can I begin to help you deal with the same? I can't control what he did or how he treated me. What I should have done was not allow his behavior and actions to make me a victim of abuse. I was not responsible for his happiness, only mine. I wasn't supposed to change him. I only had to change me to make better, safe decisions. All these mistakes, I pray, will help us and those to come after us, to help break the silence of hurt, pain, shame, and fear, to help restore love, marriage, family the way God intended. The Bible is a book of God's laws. It's also full of testimonies, trials, and tribulations, miracles, God's grace, mercy, favor, blessings, forgiveness, and more. The people in the Bible are humans just like us, who were murderers, thieves, adulterers, prostitutes, alcoholics, and many, many more. The difference between them and us is they talked about all their faults, imperfections, weaknesses, even when they were ashamed and didn't feel worthy of God's forgiveness, salvation, and blessings. They shared all these with us from generation to generation so that we may read, learn, and not repeat those mistakes. Each person and their story did not offend anyone or were not politically correct. So, I will not be quiet no matter who it offends. This is my pain and mine alone. Just like the people in the Bible, I'm telling you my story, which is, you know me as your mother, but first, I'm a child of God who lost her way. I'm still on the potter's wheel and still learning God's ways. I'm a sinner, have made many mistakes, and I'm not ashamed to say so. I'm not afraid and ashamed to tell you that I have loved and loved your father, whom I thought was going to be my life partner for better or worse, along with all that we pledged to each other. He said time and time again that he fell in love with me because of my compassion for others. But he also used my love and compassion to abuse me and made me feel unloved. I struggled with my self-worth, felt insecure, afraid, lonely, rejected, and at times depressed. I will not allow my past to dictate my future or yours. I am no longer ashamed and afraid to tell you I'm still struggling with the divorce and the what-ifs. I'm not ashamed to tell you that I'm not strong by myself, but with God and the village of angels I constantly hold on to, I will continue healing, and so will you. I'm not saying it's as simple and easy as it sounds. All I'm saying is I've lived this toxic life for 27 years, from the beginning and before you were born. I lived that life in silence, pretending, smiling on the outside, but slowly dying inside. I was constantly angry, isolated myself from friends, and because I didn't have physical scars, I convinced myself that no one could see it. Forgive me, my angels. There's a lot more to tell you, but for now, I just want to remind you that you are not alone. Keep God first and don't give up your village support. God loves you, and so do I. Well, thank you all. Like I said, I feel a little better already because I guess speaking it out and telling it and shouting it out to the world is part of my healing process. And every time I talk about it, I feel a little bit more better and encouraged that there's a bright future out there. Please, single men, don't send me a request for marriage. I am not ready yet. But look for me in the future. Thank you, and I'll see you next week. God bless. What do you think?
That was nice.
I am glad you're here with me because I was nervous.
But that was good. You did so well.
I did. That's what
Yeah.
everybody said, but I'm so nervous. Can't you tell I'm nervous?
I
I am so glad you're here with me.